What is up? What is poppin'? You know it ain't no stopping. It is your boy, the International Sensei, and welcome to the Entity Dojo podcast, your source for every damn thing, but a lot of things that are fighting related. And this is a topic heavily debated, but these people are not the smartest, and we must talk about those closed-minded martial artists. Well, in this case, I kind of used it very loosely, just because I feel like martial artists in general need to have an open mind, especially nowadays. I mean, the way things changed, like the world kind of changed with the advent of the UFC and having like Royce Gracie come in and show like the effectiveness of jiu-jitsu, and then people coming in and showing the effectiveness of grappling, and then having like great strong kickboxers come in like the modern era and show the effectiveness of that and things like that. I just feel like people, especially a lot of like older, like the older guard. It's either like two schools of thought from when I've had discussions with people, and obviously there are some young people that I've met as well that just don't know that they don't know. But a lot of like the people that are in like the old guard, they don't understand certain things. So like, for example, I'll have a conversation with the older gentleman and they won't understand the concept of MMA, and they'll think, okay, well, if I've only boxed my entire life, you need to accommodate me and not kick at my legs because I've never experienced leg kicking. You know what I mean? Well, or like if I'm a jiu-jitsu guy and like, oh, well, you can't punch me in the face, or like, oh, well, this striking stuff is so crazy. Like I've had conversations like this. I kid you not. And here's my thing. It is perfectly fine to have your own version of whatever. So you have your submission underground, you have your karate combat, you have obviously like the WBA, WBC, freaking however many damn boxing organizations there are. You have King of Lethwei, you have Muay Thai Championships, a bunch of different organizations over in Thailand. You have Glory Kickboxing, which is another kickboxing organization with a different set of rules. You have Bellator had kickboxing at one point, won championship as kickboxing. I'm trying to think, like it's just a bunch of stuff, but you get the point. They have freaking Pro Taekwondo overseas, like you get the point. So stylists, like style versus style versus style, every style can have their own professional realm, and then the UFCs and the Bellators and stuff, that's where they all mix and mingle. So my thing is, I feel like it's forcing you to be a complete martial artist. Like you can't be one dimensional. And people who love to quote Bruce Lee and will fucking spout a Bruce Lee quote at the drop of a hat or tell you to watch this Bruce Lee movie, you're basically pissing on his legacy by being so close-minded. He was the one, literally like one of the ones that thought of the concept of mixing martial arts in the first place. Like one of like, as far as like of popular culture, I'm sure there were people before him that thought about it, but as far as like in popular culture, he was the one that really was the that had the vision of mixing martial arts and being able to take a person and give him a lot of this, but then add a little bit of that and add a little bit of that and add a little bit of that, and now you have a complete fighter. And even if you're a quote-unquote complete fighter, I just like to say that, or a pure martial artist is one term that I just like to use. You're still, of course, not going to be perfect. You're not going to know every single thing, but you're going to know enough about all of it. You know what I mean? You're not going to know everything perfectly, but you're going to know enough. You're a world championship kickboxer, and you have a great wrestling team, so you know how to wrestle, you know how to sprawl, you know how to deal with takedowns, and you have a good jiu-jitsu coach. So you know how to work off your back. You can throw up some submissions now and then to like throw off your opponent so they can't just wildly and recklessly dive at your legs. Israel Adesanya, again, I love to quote him because he's one of my favorite fighters of now, modern day Anderson Silva. He's a prime example of that. World championship kickboxer, but then when he was fighting Kelvin Gastelum and Kelvin Gastelum kept trying to shoot on him, he freaking slapped up a triangle choke attempt on him and didn't get it, but he still had the wherewithal to have that prepared, to have that in his bag of tricks because he was open-minded. I think what happens is like people get so, I don't know if I want to say softened, but get to a point where they feel like accommodations need to be made, which I feel like there were certain organizations that do that, and I'm not a fan of it. Like, I spoke on like kickboxing's rules and why I feel like kickboxing has never taken off because of the way that the rules are so skewed, and every organization is designed to fit a certain group of people and kind of almost like kind of alienate others. So like, for example, World Combat League was a great example of that. So it didn't allow leg kicks, did not allow knees, didn't allow clinch work. So if I'm a Muay Thai guy, also didn't allow elbows also. So that's like 4 things. And sweeps, obviously. So that's just 5 things. So 5 things. So Muay Thai has what? Leg kicks, has knees, has clinch work, has elbows, has sweeps. So you're just telling, basically, like, and this is, I mean, obviously, like, Muay Thai has more moves than that, but this is, like, some of the bread and butter moves from Muay Thai. These are some of the, like, essential moves that you'll see in freaking every Muay Thai fight. You'll see some throws, you'll see clinch work, you'll see knees, you'll see a sweep, you'll see elbows, you'll see tons of leg kick, like, so now you're going to tell me I can't do anything that I've been training for the last 15 years of my life. So now I can't fight in your organization because you're just saying, fuck Muay Thai guys. Or if we're in karate combat and there's a certain rules, like there's certain rules with that, then most of the people that you see fighting in that organization are taekwondo, karate guys, and things like that. The only organization I would say has it perfectly correct, and not even perfectly correct, but has it the most correct, would probably be Glory. Because in Glory, you see a very good mix of Dutch style kickboxers, Muay Thai style kickboxers, Kyokushin guys. You have some Wushu guys, karate guys with like Raymond Daniels is probably like one of the only ones that's been there, but you get the point. You know what I mean? Like it's mixing of the martial arts. Now in this case, it's mixing of the stand up martial arts, but it's the same thing. I mean, you see some top flight boxers in there that might just like box and then get some Muay Thai training for the shin conditioning, might throw a couple leg kicks in there, maybe a couple teep kicks just to keep you honest, but they have a more punch heavy game. And that's what I like about Glory. But having all these organizations that break away and only allow certain styles, that's fine, but there needs to be a proving ground for all of those styles to play. And if you're so close-minded and thinking and arrogant enough to think that a person shouldn't be allowed to use what they're taught, yet you be like, oh, well, in the street, you're really not a martial artist. And I'm just speaking facts. Like, you're not a martial artist. Like if I'm in the street with somebody and they're trying to fight me and they are freaking, I don't know what they are, but they're a D1 wrestler. For some reason, they're a D1 wrestler. And they decide to pick me up and slam me. That's my fault. Okay, if I don't know, and if I don't know how to sprawl from takedowns, I don't know how to deal with people grappling with me, I should have learned how to grapple. Or if I'm with a jiu-jitsu guy and he gets on my back and he like freaking chokes me out, I needed to learn how to grapple. Vice versa, if I'm a Muay Thai guy and I get in the street and I start getting the freaking Thai clinch, grabbing this dude's neck and just start kneeing his freaking teeth in, he should have learned how to deal. Like, he should learn how to deal with that. You cannot fault a style for having a tool that you don't know. Go learn it. Go learn it. It's that simple. Go and learn it. Like, you're doing a disservice to the art to being like arrogant enough to think that you deserve to be accommodated in a combat sport. Like, that's what you're basically saying is I deserve to you can only play by my rules so I can always win, or I can always have the best chance of winning, and giving you the biggest disadvantage that I could possibly give you. I don't get that. I've always been the type that I need to learn as much as I can learn of everything once I have my base. 'Cause I spoke about this before. Have your base, though. It's just the thing, like, why are you going to be like, okay, well, I'm a boxer, I've been boxing, I'm going to go fight kickboxers, but don't kick me in my legs because I've never experienced a leg kicks. Well, fuck you. Like, truthfully, go, like, fuck you. Like, like, then don't come in kickboxing then. Or if you're a boxer, like the freaking James Toney thing, like, why did you come in MMA and waste my time? You knew what you were signing up for when you signed up to go up against one of the world's greatest wrestlers. He is going to dive at your legs. He is going to pick you up and slam you. He is going to take you down. Why are you not getting a wrestling coach? Simple. It's that simple. Why are you not getting a wrestling coach? And you're not going to need, like, and you're honestly not going to need to commit the same level of years as he has, because your skill set is very different. You're going to need a lot more defense. You're not going to need wrestling offense. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Israel Adesanya has been doing kickboxing his entire life. He is a striker. He wants to keep the fight standing. Majority of his 99% of his grappling is for defense. Even when he throws up submissions, they're in defense. He's on his back. He's throwing up a triangle in defense. But he's throwing it up to keep you honest, to be like, hey, look, I know I'm a striker, but you're taking me down. Okay, I know I've been in these waters before. I know how to go in these deep waters. I got a triangle choke on deck. I got a freaking freaking rear naked on deck. I got an arm, like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm good enough with jiu-jitsu that I can scare you enough to not just blindly go for takedowns. And that's just with expanding the mind. You need to understand you cannot be so boxed in. You can't be so boxed in. Like, nothing, I don't care what's even inner, like, stylistically, and that's not even a word, but inside of your own style, you can't be in one box because everything is different. Like, me being my height versus someone being 6'3", doing taekwondo or doing karate, those are two different things. We're going to fight two completely different ways. I can't fight at this, like, super long range because I'm not that damn tall. And vice versa. There's certain stuff that they can't do that I can do. You know what I mean? Like, it's just different things. Like, it's gonna be different, and that's okay. You need to think outside the box. You need to take your style, get your base, but then go outside of the box of your own style and find the little nuances and little things like that, and then learn other styles to expand your mind and build that repertoire. I can't even say the word. Repertoire of things and knowledge, so that you're not caught out there on an island if MMA is what you really want to do. But you can't sit here and be like, oh, well, I don't think it's fair that I committed all these years to boxing and he committed all these years to wrestling. We should only box. Like, that's literally the dumbest thing you could ever say. Because here's my thing. Okay, so you're going to say that. Now, what if he's like, okay, well, now we can only wrestle? Was like, oh, well, I don't want to only wrestle. Well, then you're not for an even playing field. You're not for an even playing field. MMA is probably the most even playing field you could ever have, because there are grapplers that get knocked out smooth cold by better strikers. Freaking Ben Askren is an example. Derek Brunson is another example. There's like wrestlers that got knocked out just trying to dive at the legs, recklessly diving at people's feet, and got put to sleep because they did not prepare properly for the striking game against these high-level strikers. And obviously, like Brunson, he's a decent striker. He's just not on the level that Izzy is. And he was doing a game plan that was the best option for him, but it just didn't work out. Ben Askren was just diving at people's legs and he got cracked with a knee and got sent into orbit. But my thing is this. There are people similar to like a Ben Askren who don't really have a vast striking background, and you're limiting yourself so much. Like, there's going to always come a point where something doesn't work. You're going to need a plan B. I mean, obviously, unless you're like Khabib or something. But you're going to need a plan B. You're going to need to be able to implement something else. Khabib Nurmagomedov, I mean, even with him, like, he, in many ways, has a plan B, or not even a plan B, but he has that complete arsenal, so he really doesn't need a plan B. But So he has a complete arsenal. Let me not say a plan B, but